Hello and welcome to Nine Lives Energy. My name is Chrissy Smith, and together we energize your body from the inside out. Thank you so much for checking out my first episode of this 12-part series called Astro Health, where we deep dive into each zodiac sign and discuss different tips and tricks and health practices that'll help you be your most optimal health. All right, so let's get into it. And here's a little presentation that I have made for our favorite sign, Scorpio. And as I'm speaking about Scorpio, here comes my kitty Jinko, who is my Scorpio who lives at home with me. And he definitely has some trust issues like some Scorpios do. And he loves to be at home. Look at him being all sweet because he knows that we're talking about him. But he only likes to come out and be present whenever I'm showing attention to someone else. So anyway, hopefully he won't give us too much trouble. And as I go into our next slide, you'll kind of see where Scorpio is on the astrological chart. So for some of us, we're like, well, how do I know, what does Scorpio means that it's ruled by the eighth house or Pluto, and it's about transformation. So to give you kind of a little quick synopsis, and I'll do this at the beginning of each of the videos that I go into, I will talk about what different zodiac signs are, and if they are fixed energy, if they're mutable energy or cardinal. Now, this one is a fixed energy, meaning that it has the most expression of. And so if they are a fixed water, then that means that they are going to have probably the most energy of that particular type of modality or energy of that season. So as you can see, Scorpio, as this pink line shows, is about transformation. And our planet Pluto is the one that is about transformation. And as we go along the zodiac wheel, you will see that the first house is controlled by Aries. Now, Aries is a sister sign to Scorpio. So guess who is in Aries? I'm an Aries. So Jinko probably chose me at the animal shelter because he saw that I was probably like a sister to him. And in traditional astrology, Scorpio was governed by Mars, but in I guess the newer version of astrology, it is governed by Pluto with the discovery of that planet, which was in the late 1920s to 1930. All right, so we're going to go to the next sign. So how do I know what I am? Am I a Scorpio rising? Am I North Nodes in Scorpio? All this information comes out when we try to break down our birth charts. I got this information off of a website called astro-seek.com, but there's plenty of them out there. Just type in free astrology birth chart and you will be able to discover more information about yourself. You do need to know your time of birth. That does give you what your rising sign is right here. So if you look at the zodiac chart right here, or this birth chart that I have gathered, this is at 1 o'clock today. This is where the planets are going around that wheel that I showed you a minute ago. And each of the signs and each of the houses display a different part of our personality and how we show up in the world. So as I break down this birth chart wheel, we have the sun, the red arrow is pointing here in this person, or at 1 o'clock today, the sun is at 25 degrees of Scorpio. Now, based upon it being 1 o'clock in the afternoon, if somebody was born at this time, they would be in Aquarius rising. Okay. Now, the North Node is what the person has come into this life to do, along with the midheaven, which I will discuss in just a second. So this is represented by, it looks like an upside down U, or upside down uterus, fallopian tube, whatever you want to call it. And then the MC, which is the top of the person's chart, is probably their connection to God, or I consider that kind of like the fifth element. And as you look at the different zodiac signs, they are different expressions of the elements of earth, whether it's earth, water, air, or fire. And Scorpio is our fixed water sign, which will make a little bit more sense when we get into the theories. But hopefully this makes just a little bit more sense. I will be talking about this in later content, but for right now, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of how to read, a birth chart and what some of that information is regarding your North Node, Midheaven, and an ascendant. So the dates of Scorpio is, everybody thinks, or at least I used to think, that it was the month of November or the month of October. Well, it's a little bit of both. So we have what we call decans in astrology. And so each of the zodiac parts of the wheel are divided into 30 degrees. And so the first 10 degrees, middle degrees, and the end degrees, which to me, I think plays a significant role in how the personality shows up in an individual. So these are the dates of Scorpio, the 23rd of October to November 21st. And as I mentioned earlier, it is ruled by the planet of Pluto, which is about rebirth and transformation and the dark side of life. So when we think about the dark side of life, we think about Halloween and dressing up in something scary. Well, that is because Scorpio is the zodiac sign which governs that holiday. So magic numbers are 8 and 20. So if I go back to this chart here, you see the zodiac sign here has number 8. So that if you see 8 or 88 a lot, that is your angels probably trying to talk to you. If I go around the zodiac wheel again, it will give you the number 20. So 8 and 20 are the magical numbers for Scorpio. Its least favorite, I guess, sign to be in, or to have a different planetary part of your chart within the sign of Scorpio, would be the moon and Venus. Moon is governed by Cancer, and so it is also a water sign, but for people with moon energy, that is our emotions. And sometimes Scorpio, with that thick shell, we like to hide those emotions, right? And so hopefully this helps video will kind of show you a little bit of how you can release some of that tension in your chart or in your astrological sign. Venus also doesn't like to be in Scorpio because Venus is about the comforts of life and the things that feel good. And transformation doesn't feel good, right? It feels good after we do the transformation, but not while we're in it. And the planet that loves to be in Scorpio is Uranus. And Uranus is about the future. And Uranus also controls astrology. So for something that would be good for Scorpios to do, probably would be to study astrology to help with their transformation. People who were born between 1975 to 1981 have Uranus in Scorpio, and I'm one of those people. So no wonder I love astrology, and no wonder I've had so many transformational experiences. I also have it in the 4th house on my chart, which is home. And that makes a lot of sense whenever I have a Scorpio cat and also a lot of Scorpio friends around me. So the 3 types of Scorpios, if you didn't know, the traditional Scorpio is the one who just likes to protect itself from transformation, because transformation doesn't feel good. And so a lot of times Scorpios with this evolvement usually try to hang on to escapism practices, whether it's abusing substances or choosing wrong relationships, or maybe feeding into too much social media. That could be a form of escapism as well. Now, the evolved eagle is an elevated consciousness. These people can usually see all outcomes of a decision and choose the best one. So they're very, and they're getting to be more intuitive, like the phoenix. And I know that we've all heard, if you do die, make sure that you rise up as the whole blazing fire, right? And that symbolizes the death and rebirth of the Scorpio into the phoenix. Those who are free from attachments, those who see the illusions of life and can break free and be the true evolved Scorpio that they came here to be. Now, animals that, of course, we just talked about that align more with this astrological sign would be the snake, because that's the unevolved Scorpio. And then we have the eagle, who's just a little bit more intuitive. And then we have the phoenix, who has just risen up out of a transformational experience and is now ready to shine their light. Other animals that you might see on a regular basis could be crows and maybe buzzards. So when we think about buzzards, they clean up death and decay and matter, right? And so that person can be able to transform into their lighter self because all of the decaying matter has been cleaned up from this animal. Essential oils that would be good. Frankincense helps us with our intuition. Lavender, I think, is great for everybody, but this one is supposed to kind of help with being calm, along with ylang ylang. And patchouli, I believe, is and geranium help us with um, being able to kind of detox ourselves and to align ourselves into being able to deal with some of those transformational experiences that could cause us to have emotional issues. So I like both of those essential oils for that. Colors, red. In traditional astrology, Scorpio is governed by Mars. And so Mars is the fiery planet, right? And Aries is a fire sign. So, of course, red would be a good color to wear. Black, obviously, because we think about Halloween, that's when kind of things are dead and dying. And that's the height of fall, when things fall away from our lives. Brown, if you think about Scorpio, where do Scorpios mainly live, right? Not the astrological sign, people of Scorpio, but the Scorpion lives mainly in the desert and around things that are brown. And the reason that I chose purple is because when we think about the merging of blue, because Scorpio is blue, it's a fixed water sign, and we have we have Aries, which is the traditional ruler Mars of Scorpio. When we merge that and we look at fire, we have blue flames, we have red flames, and then we have the purple flame, which I feel is the hottest one. And geranium would be a good flower for this person because Scorpio is about transformation. And these people are resourceful and they love to protect what they have. Okay. And they're very resilient from being able to use the resources. So I love geranium for this particular zodiac sign. Some crystals that you could use here would be topaz, and it helps with manifestation and fortune. It is actually the birthstone of Scorpio. We have malachite, which is this green stone right here, and it is used for protection. Tourmaline, I had a picture of a tourmaline, but I don't know what happened to it. Maybe I accidentally deleted it. It's a black stone like obsidian is, and so that would be a good stone for you to use, and it helps with protection. Rhodonite is kind of like a pink stone with like some black in there, and it helps with trust and love. A lot of Scorpios, they don't trust people very well, and it's because they are the bullshit detectors. They know if you're telling a lie, all right, and they want to uncover the truth. They like to solve mysteries or are attuned to the mysterious side of life, whether it's learning about stuff in the occult. And the occult, as I mentioned before, is not bad information, all right? It's just hidden information. It's hidden knowledge, and we can use it for good, or we can use it for not so good purposes. And then another one would be smoky quartz and golden healer, because that is for emotional stability. And our last one that I have pictured up here is aquamarine. And I love that a lot because I feel like a lot of Scorpios may not be able to handle their emotions well, and they maybe they feel bad because they're supposed to be such strong characters that if they show their emotions, sometimes that can show up as being weak. And so using this stone will kind of help with that and give that person the courage that they need to kind of be more in a calm state to let that go. Good foods for Scorpio. If Scorpio is about detoxing and transformation, we need to use things that would be good for us in order to help with that. So turmeric is excellent. Garlic and ginger. I know that there is a shot that I usually take. I can't remember what it is, but it's like fire water is what I call it. And it has turmeric and garlic and onion and ginger, all these things that are real good. It's kind of like apple cider vinegar juice, but just with a kick. That would be excellent for you to do, especially right before you eat. Vegetables that would help kind of with the roughage and help with elimination would be spinach and asparagus, cabbage, kale, any of the cruciferous vegetables, and especially beets. I mean, look at what a beet looks like. It's that deep red, right? It looks like blood, which is what Scorpio governs. Good fats would be avocados, walnuts, and fish oils. And proteins that would be good would be fish and seafood. Try to avoid red meat and alcohol, simply because alcohol toxifies the body, and Scorpio is about detoxification. And red meat is one of the things that we can eat that will stay in our gut the longest. And a lot of people tend to eat meat that isn't cooked very well, and that can cause us to have some yucky things going on in our gut, like parasites or bacteria. So in medical astrology, as I discussed in our intro video, is iotropa mathematics. So the body part that Scorpio governs is the reproduction area and excretory system, sexual organs, blood, and bowels. So if Scorpio governs death and rebirth, all right, we're thinking about the death of food that's given us energy and detoxing that, but also the rebirth of humanity, the rebirth of being able to give birth. So being able to take care of your sexual organs, making sure that your blood is healthy and it has good cells and that they're working at their optimal level, that would definitely help you a lot. I would also say for all Scorpios, detox, detox, detox. Now, I have a few listed here, but it doesn't matter what you detox. I mean, whether it's being in a do some type of sweat lodge, or you go into I can't even think of the name real quick, but it's the steam bath, or doing detox baths. I have a recipe for a for a detox bath here. You can use Himalayan salt, or you can use Epsom salt, baking soda, borax, and bentonite clay. Now, if you don't have borax and bentonite clay, don't worry about it. Just use baking soda and salt. And I would use probably about 2 cups of the salt and about a cup of baking soda, or you can use 1 to 1. It doesn't really matter, folks. If it's me, I'm just pouring it in there until I think that it's enough. So if you don't have, the bentonite clay, because sometimes that looks kind of gross, it turns the water brown and people don't want to get in that, but it is very good for your system, and it helps get out nanoparticles and other yucky things that may not be able to get out of our body when we typically sweat. As I mentioned earlier, apple cider vinegar shots and doing probiotics, those things are excellent to try to help with gut issues. If you aren't familiar with fasting, fasting is going a long period of time without eating. Now, I love food and it's hard for me to fast, but I've been able to do that a couple of times. And sometimes it's because I get so busy during the day that I forget to eat. And then it's, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, why don't I just go the rest of the day and, I'll have my supplements, but that's about it. And I feel so much better the next day because my body is able to heal itself. It's not worried about, well, let me digest this food or digest this meat from 2 days ago because it's still in my gut, right? And also just drinking a ton of water. Scorpio is about, detoxing the body, transformation, elimination of waste, so that we can have the rebirth, so we can start on a good foundation from that experience that we've had. It's no different than the foods that we ingest into our bodies. The best exercise practices, I put some of these things on here that also governs Aries, because in traditional astrology, as I mentioned a minute ago, Scorpio is one of the few signs that has 2 chart rulers, Mars and Pluto. So lifting weights is something that's governed by Aries. That's good. Boxing and kickboxing and martial arts, anything to where you're having to punch something, okay, or hit something to get that intensity out, right? That would be excellent for Scorpios to do, because then they're not taking that aggression out on somebody. Because Aries and Scorpio, don't make them mad, because these people will tell you off real quick and then be ready to move on to the next thing. Aries is a little bit more forgiving in nature, but Scorpio sometimes one and done, and then they're ready to move on because you've lost that trust, right? And it hurts them very emotionally if somebody does hurt their feelings and they don't forgive very easily. They'll forgive, but they're not going to forget. Some independent activities would be running. I think running is excellent because it allows that person to sweat, especially if they're doing it in the heat of the day, or doing yoga. Think about what yoga is. Yoga stretches the body. It makes room for new things to come in. And if we're like clammed up like this all the time and we don't move very well, then Scorpios can suffer from a lot of health challenges because they're just full of those toxins. They haven't been able to release the emotions in a healthy way. They haven't been able to release the pain or the trauma through doing something constructive, and then trying to hold on to that would probably be one of the worst things that Scorpios could do. So making sure that you get into a good health practice to where you're sweating on a regular basis, you're taking that aggression out, and also stretching so that you can make room for the new things. Good sports would be any type of contact sport. For women, volleyball, where you're hitting that ball, right? And you're not having to hit, somebody. You're taking it out on the ball. Football would be excellent for men. Now, I'm sure that they have some men playing volleyball, but typically in a sports setting, in a college setting, it would be volleyball. Adrenaline activities, going out of your comfort zone. This could be jumping out of an airplane. Yes, I said that, Scorpio. I know that scares you to death. Another thing could be just doing anything outside of your comfort zone. Maybe driving too fast in a car, or riding a horse, or going swimming a little further out into the ocean if that's something that scares you, because doing that gives you power. It allows you to uh, say, you know what, this scared me, but I'm going to go through it. And because I went through it and this was hard for me, I trust myself more. And this wasn't as scary as I thought. And through that transformation, through that experience, Pluto gives you power. So if you are looking for a personal appointment with me, my contact information is 9livesenergy@gmail.com. Turn off the TV, folks. Tune into yourself. There are a lot of people that just don't feel good these days. They're tired of using the supplements that don't work. They're tired of, doing this health challenge that, yeah, they lost weight, but now their weight's trying to keep back up and they've just lost motivation, right? Let's look at your birth chart. Let's see what challenges that you are experiencing right now and how we can kind of move through those together to get you back on track into optimal health. And that ascendant sign that I showed on that first slide shows up in how you show up in the world. And so if you don't know that information, it's kind of hard to work with that magical energy that could probably be your best attribute. Another way to kind of help this channel grow, like this video, share this content with somebody that you think could get something out of it. Because a lot of people just don't know this information, and it has been so transformative to me. And I just want to share it with so many people. Comment on this video. Are you a Scorpio? Does this resonate with you? If you're not a Scorpio, which zodiac sign are you? Which week are you looking forward to the most? And the next one you could do is just tip. There's my information down there, or you can give me a little tip out on the YouTube channel. It costs money to do this stuff, folks, to pay for these subscriptions and to put the content together. This takes a lot of research, and I believe that this information is important, and this is something that I'm looking to have as my next future job as we step into the age of Aquarius starting on November 19th. And this is our calendar for Astro Health. So we just talked about Scorpio here. Capricorn is going to be next. The reason that I'm choosing Capricorn is because we are coming out of the age of Capricorn and into the age of Aquarius, because wherever Pluto goes, that is what governs the collective. And so it's been in Capricorn for a while, and now it's going to be going into Aquarius. And so we'll talk about Aquarius on December 22nd. Aries and Libra have been going through it because the nodes, as I mentioned in the first slide, kind of show what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. And it usually spends about a year and a half in each zodiac sign. And so right now it has been in Aries and Libra. And so these people have been going through it and transforming, how they show up in the world, and eliminating relationships that no longer serve them, and stepping into their power and being in more alignment with what it is that they came here to do. We got Virgo coming up on the 29th, Pisces, January 5th, Leo, January 12th. Going to get some sunshine in January. Cancer, right now, Cancer, we've been going through it too. We got Mars there. Mars does not like to be in Cancer, and it has just gone into Leo. So some of us are feeling the relief that are Cancers, because Mars is out of that uncomfortable place it doesn't like to be. And we're going to get a little break. And then we're going to feel it again here in a few months, and before it heads back into Leo for good. Then we're going to talk about Gemini. You guys are getting some blessings right now with Jupiter on your sign. So keep on it, Gemini. Just keep doing what you're doing. Listen to your inner voice, listening to your intuition, and learning all kinds of new things so that you can step out into the world to be a new version of you. And then our last one is Taurus. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video if you got something out of it. And I will see you next week for Astro Health when we talk about Capricorn. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a magical day.